Good day everybody, and welcome to today's latest episode on my YouTube video series. And today we're going to talk about the proposal for the second RTS. Now, where did we hear this news? Now, basically, we got this news from the Menteri Besar of Johor, Dato' On Hafiz. Now, Dato' On Hafiz, he's currently in Singapore for a 3-day official visit at the invitation of the Singapore government. And one of the things that's happening is that he's going to receive an award or an invitation to join the Lee Kuan Yew Exchange Fellowship, right? He's basically the 82nd person to get this award. This is basically a NGO set up by the Singapore government, right, to recognize people of outstanding talent who have contributed greatly to their nation and also to contribute greatly to Singapore and that nation's ties. So basically, Dato' On Hafiz is the 9th person from Malaysia to get this award and this fellowship, and he's actually the first person from Johor to get this fellowship as well. In case you guys are fairly new to the story of the Johor Menteri Besar, right, On Hafiz is actually from a very big political dynasty in Malaysia, right? He's actually the great-grandson of the first Menteri Besar of Johor. He's also a grandson of the third Prime Minister of Malaysia, Tun Hussein On. Actually, he's his grandfather. And he's related to a number of politicians in Malaysia, like Hishamuddin is his uncle, I think. So, yeah, he's from a long line of Johor as well as Malaysia politicians, basically. So far in Singapore, we know that he has met Gan Kim Yong. He has also met Ong Ye Kung. He has also today met the Prime Minister Lawrence Wong himself. So what was interesting is that in his Facebook post, right, on day one of his visit in Singapore, he mentioned a few things. Number one was setting up a free trade zone in Johor with Singapore. So basically, a free trade zone is an area where you can import things and manufacture things in that free trade zone without paying import or export taxes, right? So that's what a free trade zone basically is. So that he's talking about setting up one in Johor. He also talked about easing the movement of goods and talent across borders. So probably some kind of visa. We hope for a visa because some people still feel that Malaysia, my second home, doesn't cover all categories of people. So there could be some visa incoming, right? But the third thing that I think was the most interesting of the Facebook post was that he mentioned he proposed to Singapore to build a second RTS in the west part of Johor, which is basically Iskandar Puteri. And in today's Facebook post, which was basically after he met the Prime Minister Lawrence Wong, he again repeated that he had also proposed this same second RTS link to the Prime Minister of Singapore as well. And he mentioned that this proposal originated from the Tengku Mahkota Johor, the Crown Prince of Johor. So that this was an idea or a proposal by the Crown Prince of Johor. Now, this is the first time that we have ever heard of a second RTS proposed by any channel of the Malaysian government. Previously, for the west of Johor, we always spoke about the high-speed rail, right? The high-speed rail was meant to be from Jurong East to Iskandar Puteri all the way to KL. So all this while for the west, the plan is for high-speed rail. This is the first time, I think, I could be wrong, this is the first time I've heard of a second RTS ever mentioned by any Malaysian politician. But if we do an RTS instead, right, a second RTS, it will connect to Tuas, and you can see here that the mention in the proposal is connect to Tuas, which means you're going to connect to the Tuas Link station, right, on the east-west line. So Tuas Link station, right, is about 500 meters away outside the Tuas immigration near the Raffles Marina. So that is the very last station on the east-west line in the west, right, which was opened around 2017, right, when the Singapore government built the MRT all the way into the Tuas area. So that's the last station ever. So if you were to connect to Singapore MRT network, right, that is where I believe the station will be if we were to have a second RTS station. That's for Singapore. So how about Malaysia? Where will the station be for this second RTS if it's ever done in Malaysia? So the most obvious choice actually is Forest City, because Forest City is just directly opposite to us, right? So it sounds like if you're going to build a straight line just across the Johor Causeway, right, into JB, right, Forest City is the most obvious location for the RTS station. The question is, if you put an RTS station in Forest City, how do you get from Forest City to the other parts of JB, right? Because Forest City, as everyone knows, is fairly remote. So this is where the ART network comes in, right? So for those of you who have been paying attention, right, the Johor government intends to set up an ART network within JB, right? And this proposal is supposed to be out by August. So soon, this is coming to August already. The Johor Exco said that we will probably have more details on the ART network by August. So ART is basically an electrified tram, right? It's basically a electrified tram sitting on an elevated track. So there will be a track similar to an LRT or MRT, right? So an elevated track and an electric tram will travel on top of it. So the plus point of the ART is that you can build it relatively faster, probably in a 3-4 year time frame. The negative part of the ART is that probably it doesn't carry as many people as an LRT or MRT, right? But so we understand from the Malaysian Transport Minister, Anthony Loke, that ART is the preferred option. So we will hear more details of it hopefully in the next few months, August to the next few months of this year. So the ART original network plan, this is an image or a map from years ago, right? If you look at the line going west, right, it stops in Medini, right? So Medini, this Medini station actually is referring to the location just outside of Legoland, right? So that is the Medini station. But we now understand from our sources is that this westward ART track will go all the way, most likely to Medini South, which is a Sunway area, and then all the way until Forest City. So if the ART goes all the way to Forest City, I think it's only logical, like what Menteri Besar here is proposing, to then have a second RTS from Forest City to go into Tuas in Singapore. I don't think that the RTS station in Iskandar Puteri will be at Puteri Harbour or be at Medini or be at Gelang Patah, because it's very weird, because you must understand that the Singapore MRT station is on that side of the Tuas, so you cannot be on this side. It doesn't make sense, right? So it will most likely, if you ask me at this stage, be in Forest City from the sound of it. So who will benefit in Johor, right, if there is a second RTS? Of course, the most obvious beneficiary, like I said, is Forest City itself, because sounds like or looks like the most obvious location for RTS station will be Forest City. Please correct me if I'm wrong if you guys have any other opinion on where the second RTS station should be, right? Please let me know in the comments, right? And of course, at this stage, if that happens, that will be a big benefit to Forest City, right? I don't see it happening in Medini or Puteri Harbour. I don't see it happening in Gelang Patah, because Gelang Patah is actually inland, a bit further away, and Gelang Patah is where the high-speed rail station will be, right? So I don't see it happening there as well. So the things to consider whether this second RTS station is feasible or not. Number one, what is the ART alignment within Johor, right, which we should know by August onwards. Number two is whether all these projects, whether ART or RTS number 2, right, is approved by the federal government, because you must understand transportation in Malaysia is under control of the federal government, not the state government. So KL, basically Anwar Ibrahim and team, and Anthony Loke also have to say yes to fund this project. And number 3, if all this happens, what happens to the high-speed rail project, right? The high-speed rail project is still in limbo. We don't have a clear answer today whether the high-speed rail project is happening or not, right? Interesting to note is that Malaysia will be hosting the HSR Asia conference, right, in September. This will be held in KL. You can see the picture over here. So I find it very, don't know if it's coincidence or not, that Malaysia will be hosting such a major event on high-speed rail, right, in KL, right, when Malaysia is also one of the countries still thinking about doing high-speed rail or not. So I don't know whether September will be a date where we hear more about the high-speed rail, but the fact that the Malaysia side willing to host this conference means that maybe high-speed rail is still on the table somewhere lah. Yeah, so that's all you need to know, right, about this, right? I hope it's interesting news. It is very exciting for all of us, especially if you own property in the western side of Iskandar Puteri, right? Medini, Puteri Harbour, Bukit Indah, Gelang Patah, this vicinity, right? Anything that connects to Singapore or to KL is always a plus point, right? It will help property prices there, make the area more livable as well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, do like, share, and subscribe. If anything to add, please leave in the comments below what you think, what you want to ask. Some other speculative ideas that you might have in your head about this second RTS, right? Let me know in the comments below. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and bye bye.